Hi everyone, it's 2019 and Game of Thrones is back. And to celebrate its comeback, we've chosen a scene from Season 6, the Battle of Meereen, to explain some interesting vocabulary to you. Watch the scene and then we'll talk about some words and expressions to help you understand the situation better.
Once before I offered you peace. If you had not been so arrogant, you could have returned to your homeland with a fleet of ships. Instead, you will flee Slavers Bay on foot. Like the beggar queen you are.
We are here to discuss terms of surrender, not to trade insults.
The terms are simple. You and your foreign friends will abandon the Great Pyramid and the city of Meereen.
The Unsullied you stole from Krasny's Monoclos will remain to be sold again to the highest bidder. The translator you stole from Krasny's Monoclos will remain to be sold again to the highest bidder. The dragons beneath the Great Pyramid will be slaughtered.
We obviously didn't communicate clearly. We're here to discuss your surrender, not mine.
I imagine it's difficult. Adjusting to the new reality. Your reign is over.
My reign has just begun.
In the beginning of the scene, Razdel believes that Daenerys has lost the battle. So he says,
Once before I offered you peace. If you had not been so arrogant, you could have returned to your homeland with a fleet of ships.
Notice that Razdel is talking about the past. He says, I offered you peace, and he's talking about something that actually happened. The second sentence, however, is about an unreal situation in the past. It did not happen. What happened was, Daenerys was arrogant and she didn't return to her homeland. What Razdel is describing is imaginary. He's imagining a different past, but it's impossible to change it now. So what he uses is if and then had in the sentence. Remember that if refers to a condition. If you had not been so arrogant means you were arrogant, but I'm imagining a different situation. And the second part is you could have returned to your homeland. This part shows an imaginary possibility of something that could have happened, but it didn't. So when you talk about imaginary situations in the past, you use if, had, and then could or would have, and then the verb in the past participle. Razdel uses the expression a fleet of ships. A fleet is a group of, in this case, a group of ships. We can also use the word fleet to talk about aircraft or other transportation operating together. For example, a fleet of ambulances. Then Razdel says,
Instead, you will flee Slavers Bay on foot. Like the beggar queen you are.
Instead means in place of. So Razdel means that in place of a happy return to her homeland with a fleet of ship, Daenerys will go back to her homeland on foot. Remember, we use on, foot, but with other ways to travel, we use by. We say by ship, by bus, by train, by plane, or by car, for example. What about the word beggar? Beggar means a poor person who lives by asking for money and food. Now let's listen to what Tyrion says.
We are here to discuss terms of surrender, not to trade insults.
When you surrender, you stop fighting and you admit that you lost. You admit your defeat. That's what Tyrion and Daenerys wanted to discuss. They didn't want to trade insults. To trade means to exchange. So when you trade insults, you insult one another. Now listen to Yesen as he sets the terms of surrender.
The terms are simple. You and your foreign friends will abandon the Great Pyramid and the city of Meereen.
The Unsullied you stole from Krasny's Mona Claus will remain to be sold again to the highest bidder. The translator you stole from Krasny's Mona Claus will remain to be sold again to the highest bidder. The dragons beneath the Great Pyramid will be slaughtered.
Yesen says, you and your foreign friends will abandon the Great Pyramid. A foreign friend, is a person from another country that is not yours. So when you say, for example, foreign language is a language that is not yours, is a language from another country. Or you can say foreign food, which is food from another country. The pronunciation is foreign. Then Yesen says,
the Unsullied you stole from Krasny's Mona Claus will remain to be sold again to the highest bidder.
in Game of Thrones, the Unsullied are a group of warriors that are famous for their discipline in battle. Unsullied is a word in English that means pure or virginal or immaculate. Then Yesen uses the word bitter when he says that when Daenerys leaves the city, the translator and the Unsullied will be sold to the highest bidder. Bidder is a person who offers more money for something. Finally, he says the dragons will be slaughtered. Slaughtered is a word that means killed. So the dragons will be killed. But Daenerys does not want to surrender, so she says,
We obviously didn't communicate clearly. We're here to discuss your surrender, not mine.
Daenerys uses the word mine to refer to my surrender. Remember, we can use the word mine when you don't want to repeat what you said before. So you can say, for example, my pencil, and then again you can say it's mine, and you don't repeat the word pencil. But Rysdale doesn't agree with Daenerys, so he says,
I imagine it's difficult, adjusting to the new reality. Your reign is over.
a reign is a period of time when a king or a queen rules a country. So in this case, Rysdale believes that it's the end of the reign of Daenerys. So that's why he uses the expression, your reign is over. Daenerys disagrees. She says,
My reign has just begun.
the word just is used to refer to something that happened very recently. So here Daenerys means that her reign has started very recently. So you can use the word just with other examples like, oh, she has just arrived, or she has just had a baby. In these examples, these actions have just happened. They are very recent actions. Remember to use the word just with present perfect. I have just arrived. She has just had a baby. Well, this is the end of another video based on the series Game of Thrones. We hope you liked it, and let us know if you did by leaving a message, a comment, or a suggestion. Okay? See you soon. Bye-bye.